Hi friends, Allison here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing with you another Cricut inspired scrapbooking layout using mixed media and obviously die cuts from my Cricut. Sorry about that, guys. My built-in home security system let me know that somebody was at the door. So I took a short break and I'm back again. I began with watercoloring. In my background, I used Close to My Heart Pebble re-inker to do that, just mixed with a little bit of water. And then I set it aside to dry so I could focus on putting together the rest of the elements for this layout. So at the moment, I am working on putting together these super cute little clouds. There's 3 parts to it. There's a light part, a medium part, and then the darkest part. So I'm putting them all together. I actually put most of them together off camera, but I wanted to show you the last few so you can see what they look like. This layout is going to be all about clouds, and they will be varying in size and color as well. I decided to switch up the colors amongst the clouds just that there was some difference and variety so they don't blend into each other. I didn't show you all of the cloud putting together part of this layout, just parts of it. So this is the medium-sized cloud. I had large clouds, medium-sized, and small clouds. And I used liquid glue to attach the little ones and then my tape runner to attach the medium and the large clouds together. Pardon that jiggling there. I hit the arm that my phone rests in to do the recording and it obviously moved around. So I'm just gonna finish putting these clouds together and then I'll move on to the rest of the layout. I didn't show you all of this just because it's repetitive and you didn't need to see it all being put together. Now that my layout base has had some time to dry, I just let it air dry. I didn't take the air gun to it. If you take your heat gun to your layout, it does bend and warp the paper a little bit, which isn't bad. You can stick it between something heavy and it'll flatten out, or you can just let it air dry, which is what I did. I didn't use a whole lot of water or a whole lot of ink, so it didn't take all that long to dry. I should note that I did prep my layout, the white cardstock, with white gesso first as well. I let that dry. I did all of my cutting on the Cricut and then came back and assembled my layout. I'm just showing you the re-inker that I used. It's really hard to see because of the light and it all just blends in. It's Pebble and it's a really light gray color and really quite nice. It's one of my favorite colors. So now I am moving on to my journal spot. I was really inspired to create a layout that had paper with text in it. I don't have any pre-printed text paper in my stash at all, so I created my own. There's a few ways that you could do this. You could handwrite your text paper, which is what I did. You could also stamp it, you could type it. It's completely up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. This is just the way that I chose to do it. Actually, what I did was wrote out my journaling on that piece of paper. It's trimmed down to slightly smaller than 3 by 4 inches. And I just used a straight edge ruler and a pencil to mark out the lines so I could be sure that it's straight. Wrote my journaling out in a black pen and then put the embellishments on top of it. I'm okay with it. It doesn't defeat the purpose at all. This layout is about my cat napping. And there's not really a whole lot to say about your pets napping, right? So I was totally okay with covering up most of my journaling. It didn't really say a whole lot, say a whole lot to begin with anyways. So I really wanted some text and that's how I decided to incorporate it. I really like the finished look. It adds some more texture without being overwhelming, and I think it's pretty fab. So I'm just completing the rest of my title right now. I did add part of the title on top of the cloud, which is on top of my journaling. It says dream, and that was cut with my Cricut. The next part of the title is day, and I wanted to stamp it, so I pulled out a Close to My Heart alpha stamp that I have in my stash. It is available still in my Close to My Heart shop. I will include the links to all the products as well that I used in today's layout down below in the description box. So if you wanted to have a peek at any of those products, you are more than welcome to. So I stamped the 3 letters D, A, and Y in 3 different colors, all Close to My Heart inks. I used Canary, Green Apple, which is quickly becoming a new absolute favorite color of mine. It's the perfect green, and Lagoon. And I stamped those on scrap white cardstock. I fussy cut them out and then glued them to the journal spot just above the word dream, so the title becomes Daydream. That gets placed below my photo, and now I get to play with placement, where I'm going to put all of the clouds that I die cut on this layout. I really wanted to create an S pattern with those die cut clouds, and so I'm placing them in that sort of pattern around my page. I tried doing my watercoloring sort of in the same pattern so that I could get some color underneath all of the clouds, if that makes sense. And once I was happy with that placement, I took some liquid glue and started gluing those clouds to the layout. I did go back afterwards. I was probably about halfway through putting the clouds down and realized I wanted some of them to be popped up with foam. So I pulled a couple of them off, so they're a little bit higher in the foreground than the rest of the clouds, so it creates some visual depth. And then I do the same with the little white clouds as well, which is coming up right away here. So now all those big and medium clouds are adhered. Now I'm going to add the little white clouds to the layout as well. And like I said, I use the same method. Some of them will be popped up on foam and others will be glued directly to the layout base. Once all of the clouds are adhered to my layout, I'm going to pull out a few other items from my stash to embellish the layout. I do have yellow stars and 1 lone yellow heart that's going to be adhered to the picture of Ava. I'm also going to add 2 phrase stickers from a Tim Holtz sticker book that I have in my stash as well. I forgot to mention way back at the beginning, I did ink the journaling spot, which I matted to some pattern paper that I had in my stash. I inked that, actually both of them, in charcoal ink, which is also a Close to My Heart product as well. I toyed with inking the clouds, but I decided against it because I was going to be sitting there forever trying to ink all of these other elements. So I just stuck with the picture and the journal spot. For the picture, I actually was wrong. I used my intense black Close to My Heart ink to ink the edges of the picture so that the ink wouldn't smudge. So there are the phrase stickers that I added to the bottom right hand of the picture of Ava. I'm going to add that little yellow heart just above those 2 phrase stickers, and then I'm going to go and start adding the stars around the page as well. I do pull the layout base away from the camera for a second and then bring it back because I was going to add some stickles to the stars. I was going to brush some stickles on, but I decided against that. So I'm just going to start gluing them down. And once that's done, I decided to add a doodled border around the edge of the layout as well. There's so much white space to the left side of the layout. I found that my eye kept drifting off the edge of the page. So I wanted to add something that would draw the eye back into the center of the layout. Oh, I also added the date with my roller stamp as well in charcoal ink. Once the date is put in there, I go ahead and do the doodled border. I do 2 passes. The first pass is just with a straight edge ruler and my black journaling pen. And then the other one is a little bit messy. I just freehand it and make sure it's kind of sloppy in nature, if that makes sense. And with that, the layout is pretty well done. I'm just going back over the picture and the journaling spot. I find that sometimes adhesive, like the tape, doesn't stick very well to gesso. So I go back with my liquid glue and just attach the corners as added safety so that the pictures and stuff don't fall off. And with that, my layout is complete. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this layout inspired you. You are free to use this cut file. It will be shared to my Cricut profile. Anybody can use it for their personal use. I'll include the link to my Cricut profile down below. So if you are a Cricut user, you are more than welcome to use this file. And I'll also include all of the products that I used in this layout as well, so you can check those out. I have still shots and close-ups coming up next. Feel free to check those out. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up and a like. And also make sure you check my next YouTube video, which will be posted a little bit later on today. It's actually a Cricut tutorial sharing how to share your projects with the Cricut community and social media. So definitely check that out. Thanks for joining me today. I will see you again very soon. Bye guys.